The winter of 1942 swallowed Stalingrad whole. The city was no longer alive. It was a carcass of bricks, ash, and twisted metal. Every building stood like a broken tooth in the jaw of a dying world. The Volga River was frozen solid, its surface scattered, with the wreckage of planes and the bodies of men who had fallen trying to cross it. And somewhere in those ruins, in the cold and the smoke, lived one man, a sniper named Sergeant Ivan Petrov, whom the Germans had come to call the Ghost. He wasn't born a soldier. Before the war, he had been a hunter in Siberia, quiet, patient, and deadly accurate. When the Germans invaded, he didn't hesitate. He kissed his wife on the forehead, promised her he'd come back, and boarded a train to the front. He never saw her again. Now his world was this, a city on fire, echoing with artillery and screams. The air was always thick with gunpowder and snow. His breath came out like smoke from a dying engine. He had one rifle, one set of gloves, and a single goal: to defend what was left of Stalingrad, no matter the cost. Each day began with the same ritual. Ivan would crawl into a ruined building before dawn, camouflage himself among debris, and wait. His eyes never blinked. His heart barely beat. Hours would pass before a target appeared. A German officer, a radio operator, sometimes a sniper trying to find him. One shot, one kill. Then silence again. He became a myth. Soldiers told stories of him around campfires. "He sees through walls," one man whispered. "He can hit a fly at 500 meters, said another. The Germans started to fear even the quiet, because quiet meant he was watching. But the truth was darker. Ivan was exhausted. He hadn't eaten properly in weeks. His hands trembled when he wasn't holding the rifle. Sometimes he thought he saw faces in the smoke, his fallen comrades, watching him. Yet he refused to stop. He knew if he died, more would die after him. Then one morning, his commander called him in. "Petrov," he said, "we have a problem. The Germans have sent their best marksman, a killer known as the Wolf. He's already taken down 3 of our men. You have to end it." Ivan simply nodded. There were no medals left to earn, no glory to chase, only one more mission. For 2 days, he studied the factory district where the Wolf was rumored to be. The snow was deep, the wind cut like knives. He moved like a shadow between the ruins. On the 3rd day, he found what he was looking for: a faint glint of glass, high in the skeleton of a building. The enemy sniper was watching too. They saw each other at the same time. And then the world became still. For hours, neither moved. They were 2 ghosts in a frozen graveyard. Ivan's body ached. His eyes watered from the cold, but he didn't blink. A single mistake meant death. The battle turned into a test of patience. He listened to every sound, and the creak of metal, the crunch of snow. Once a rat scurried past his boot, and even that felt loud enough to give him away. His heartbeat slowed to nothing. Then came the moment. A faint reflection flashed, just a second, in the distance. Ivan exhaled, adjusted his scope, and fired. The sound of the rifle echoed like thunder through the ruins. For a moment there was no movement. Then a dark shape slumped forward. The Wolf was gone. Ivan approached slowly, step by step. When he reached the German's nest, he froze. The enemy was young, no older than 20. Beside his body lay a small photograph of a woman and a baby. Ivan stared for a long time before whispering, "Forgive me." He buried the photo under the snow and walked away, heavier than before. The duel had ended, but the war had not. Stalingrad still burned. The nights grew colder and food ran out. Ivan's comrades were dying from frostbite and hunger. Yet he continued, day after day, crawling through frozen streets, picking off enemies that tried to advance. One night, while waiting near the ruins of a church, he heard footsteps behind him. He spun, rifle ready, but it was a young Soviet messenger, trembling, carrying a letter. "For you, comrade," the boy said. The letter was from his wife, written months ago, before the front had moved this far. "Come home," it said. "The snow here reminds me of your eyes." Ivan folded it carefully and tucked it inside his coat. That night he didn't sleep. He just looked at the stars through the broken roof and whispered, "Soon." But the next morning everything changed. A German bombardment struck their position. The earth split apart, buildings collapsed, and fire rained from the sky. When the smoke cleared, dozens were dead. Ivan was gone. For weeks, soldiers searched the ruins. No body, no rifle, nothing. Many believed he had perished. But then reports began to surface. German officers falling mysteriously, one by one from impossible distances. Some said the ghosts still hunted them. The winter ended. The war moved west. By 1943, the city was reclaimed, and Stalingrad began to rebuild. But still, every few nights, a single rifle shot echoed across the empty streets, long after the fighting had stopped. Decades later, in 1971, a construction team working near the old tractor factory uncovered a rusted rifle beneath a collapsed wall. The serial number matched Ivan Petrov's weapon. Inside the ruins, they found a skeleton wearing a Soviet uniform, his hand still gripping the rifle. In his pocket, there was a folded piece of paper, yellow with age, the ink nearly gone. It read, "Tell my wife I never missed." When they buried him, the sky over Stalingrad turned gray, and thunder rolled across the river. Old soldiers said it sounded like a rifle shot, one last echo from the ghost sniper. To this day, no one knows how long he survived after the bombardment, or how many enemies fell to his bullet. But one thing is certain: Ivan Petrov kept his promise. He fought until there was nothing left to fight for. And even then, his spirit refused to die. Sometimes, when the wind sweeps across the ruins of Stalingrad, people say they hear the faint crack of a rifle followed by silence. Maybe it's just the wind. Or maybe the ghost still guards the city he swore to protect.